Girl meets boy. Girl and boy fall in love. Boy cheats on girl. Girl and boy split. Girl meets new boy. Girl and new boy fall in love. New boy turns out to be an immature mama's boy. Girl and boy split. Girl meets next new boy. Girl and next new boy fall in love. Next new boy decides he likes drugs and alcohol better than girl. Girl and next new boy split. Girl gets herself a little dog. Now, if any of this sounds vaguely familiar to you, congratulations. You found the right video. Hi, I'm author and relationship coach E. Gray Lorimer. Wherever I go, the number one question I get from single women, and unfortunately from some women who are currently in love relationships, is where are the great guys hiding? So it's no stretch that my new book bears that same title. In addition to the book, I've also created a one-of-a-kind coaching technique that is like nothing you will find on the planet. I've also produced 2 one-day seminars, one that shares the same title, Where are the Great Guys Hiding, and a second one entitled True Love Connections. Lastly, I put together some educational videos that you can watch right here online, all to help you form true love relationships with the right guy in the right way. So come on with me on this journey, and we'll see if we can't answer the question, where are the great guys hiding? Let's talk a little bit about not so great guys. These are the guys who are very eager to get you to fall in love with them up front. Later, they simply disappoint. My job is to help you identify them early, before you fall in love, so that you can avoid them and spend your time and efforts finding a great guy. We have discovered that great guys are those men who are ready, willing, and able to form the bonds of true love, and that they share common behaviors, characteristics, and temperaments. Just as great guys present desirable behaviors that foster balance and love connections, not so great guys display some undesirable behaviors. The realm of not so great guys is rife with familiar archetypes. Mama's boys, wanderers, addicts, and the galactically immature come to mind. I like to break down not so great guys into 3 categories. Guys who are really close, or in the words of Maxwell Smart, missed it by that much. Guys who are not even close. And men who should be avoided like the plague. Some men would have passed the great guy test other than 1 or 2 missing ingredients. Others would have entered the realm of great guys except for inconsistencies in behavior and temperaments. The unfortunate reality when dating a guy who is close is that you may find yourself entering into a love relationship before you realize that he is not your great guy. Hope of small changes compels many women to keep dating these guys. From that standpoint, these men who are close are more dangerous than the obvious loser. I have coached many women who recognize too late that their man missed the mark by a little. Once we make a commitment to a love relationship, it can become challenging to admit the truth about our mate's undesirable behaviors or inability to connect. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. Now, I'm not talking about a simple corking behavior here. You're dating a guy, he comes over to your apartment and he leaves the toilet seat up. That's an intellectual proposition, and for the most part, that's self-correcting. Once you point out the behavior, usually a guy is, if he loves you or is falling in love with you, he's willing to correct that on his own. I'm talking about an emotional proposition that prevents forming the connections of true love. I'll provide the most innocuous example that I can think of, something that's near and dear to my heart. I have a son who is a first-year law student. He's reading law at Ave Maria in Naples, Florida. And if you ask any lawyer about the first year of law school, they will tell you that it is a daunting task. When you're attending law school in your first year, you have little time and energy for anything other than study. Now, I'm a proud father, and I got to be honest with you that by any yardstick that any woman would have, my son meets all the criteria of a great guy, save one. As a first-year law student, he does not have the time and energy to dedicate to a love relationship. So therefore, he would be unable, in our definition of ready, willing, and able, he would be unable to form the bonds of true love due to his life circumstance. To his credit and maturity level, he's very honest and open about the fact that he's not in a position to form love bonds with any woman that he dates at this time. Most men who miss the mark by a little are not as honest about their great guy status. Either they don't know or they're being a little selfish. What I want for you is to meet a great guy. This will enhance your chances of finding true love tenfold. In our Where Are the Great Guys Hiding seminar and also in one-on-one coaching, we spend a lot of time differentiating between guys that miss the mark by a little and real great guys. The reason for this is that the best way to eliminate future relationship issues is to not enter a relationship with any guy who is not a great guy. I coach a lot of married women and women who are currently in love relationships, and I always seem to get a question that revolves around their guy missing the mark by a little. They almost instantaneously categorize their guy, because there's relationship discourse, into that category. And the question is, can I do something to help my guy become a great guy? My answer is always the same. If both partners are sane and sober, it's relatively easy to help your guy knock off the rough edges and move from the missed it by that much category into the great guy category. It doesn't even matter what the source of disconnection is. A lot of times women will say that, my guy is sexually selfish. We make love and I walk away feeling more like a hooker than I do an equally satiated love partner. It could be that her guy doesn't practice discharge empathy. I'm having a really crappy day. I'm feeling sad, mad, or bad. Explain it to him, and I walk away from that conversation feeling, equally bad, or, more disconnected than when I approached him with it. And the source of the friction is not nearly as important as how we resolve that friction. And here is where our technique, the technique that we teach in both of our seminars, and of course in one-on-one coaching, the technique that we teach differs from traditional psychological dogma. If you study the greats of couples counseling, John Gottman and John Gray, and if you attend traditional couples counseling, what you find is that there is serious airtime given to developing a set of coping skills that enable both partners to cope with each other, or also compromising skills, which enable couples to compromise on specific issues. Our technique differentiates in as much as we don't believe that true love requires that skill set. That sounds more like a business relationship to me.
Do we have a deal?
Than a true love relationship. Of course, it's not the couple's counselor's fault. Historically, a couple walks into their office and says, listen, we're having some issues in our relationship and we really want to stay together. We want to work things out. Well, at that point, the couple has just duty bound the couple's counselor to use their skills and power to keep the couple together at all costs. I believe that the very basic premise is flawed. I would much rather see a couple walk into a counselor's office and say, hey, listen, we're both looking for true love. If it's with each other, that's great. If not, we don't care. We want to find true love. When we approach couples' issues from that standpoint, there's a fundamental dynamic shift in the focus. Rather than individual wants and needs, both partners focus on relationship balance. It is amazing how easy it is to deal with emotionality in the now once that shift takes place. Now, this is where great guys and guys who miss the mark by a little really differ from guys who are not even close and guys that you should avoid like the plague. We predicate the technique upon the proposition that these men truly want their love partner to be happy. They care deeply about their partner's happiness, and they want them to experience the joy and bliss of a true love relationship. Men who are not even close, or men you should avoid like the plague, actually don't care about your happiness. Sometimes they even revel in your emotional pain. Men who are not even close include mama's boys, cheaters, and conceited, self-centered little shits who only care about themselves and certainly not the women that they pretend to love.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
They are characterized by a major character flaw, lack of self-confidence, or they are emotionally immature. Because they are underdeveloped emotionally, it is impossible to establish balance and maintain it for any period of time with guys who are not even close. Even techniques for resolving relationship issues that work well with great guys and guys who miss the mark by a little will not work with these guys. A relationship with a man who is not even close will always be one-sided and out of balance. Unlike men who miss the mark by a little, these guys are not salvageable. They must first fix the cause of their imbalance on their own. Unfortunately, when you fall for a guy who is not even close, you do not get to pass go, you do not collect $200. Rather, you go directly to the living hell of a harmful love relationship. And when the relationship comes to an end, and it will, after he's taken everything he can take and you've given everything you can give, you will wear the war wounds and battle scars for a very long time. The really bad news about guys who are not even close is that they don't come with a neon sign issuing a warning as to their status. Conversely, they will work very hard up front to win your heart. They have to hide their flaws. The good news, if there's any, is that they do offer clues. In Where Are the Great Guys Hiding seminar and of course in one-on-one coaching, we spend a lot of time talking about those clues. This is to help you identify up front guys who are not even close so that you don't get into a love relationship with them. The final category of not so great guys are guys who should be avoided like the plague. These guys don't have a mere personality quirk or are underdeveloped emotionally. These guys have a serious chemical imbalance. I'm talking about the mentally ill and addicts. These men can be well adept at hiding their illness and addiction. I can recall one coaching client who mistaken full-blown narcissism for confidence. I recall another who stated if she knew he had bipolar disorder, she never would have fallen in love with him. She just thought he was having, a couple moody days here and there. Addiction can be easy to hide as well. I had one client who didn't realize her lover was addicted to OxyContin until they had lived together for over 3 months. I have no fear of you falling for a schizophrenic who's walking down the street mumbling to himself, or to a raging alcoholic. If you are sane and sober, those guys are pretty easy to avoid. I want you to be able to equally avoid men with mental illness and addictions that don't present as obvious. And that's why we discuss some surefire methods to help you identify those guys in both seminars and in the one-on-one coaching.